I thought that the professor was going to break down and have hysterics just as he had when Lucy died, but with a great effort he controlled himself and was at perfect nervous poise when Mrs. Harker tripped into the room, bright and happy-looking, and, in the doing of work, seemingly forgetful of her misery. As she came in, she handed a number of sheets of typewriting to Van Helsing. He looked over them gravely, his face brightening up as he read. Then, holding the pages between his finger and thumb, he said, "Friend John, to you with so much of experience already, and you too, dear Madam Mina, that are young, here is a lesson. Do not fear ever to think. A half-thought has been buzzing often in my brain, but I fear to let him lose his wings. Here, now with more knowledge, I go back to where that half-thought come from, and I find that he be no half-thought at all, that be a whole thought, though so young that he is not yet strong to use his little wings. Nay, like the ugly duck of my friend Hans Andersen, he be no duck thought at all, but a big swan thought that sail nobly on big wings when the time come for him to try them. See, I read here what Jonathan have written. That other of his race, who in a later age again and again brought his forces over the great river into Turkeyland, who, when he was beaten back, came again and again and again, though he had to come alone from the bloody field where his troops were being slaughtered, since he knew that he alone could ultimately triumph. What does this tell us? Not much? No, the Count's child thought see nothing, therefore he speak so free. Your men thought see nothing, my men thought see nothing till just now. No, but there comes another word from someone who speak without thought, because she too know not what it mean, what it might mean, just as there are elements which rest yet, when in nature's course they move on their way and they touch. Then, poof, and all there comes a flash of light, heaven-wide, that blind and kill and destroy some, but that show up all earth below for leagues and leagues, is it not so? Well, I shall explain. To begin, have you ever studied the philosophy of crime? Yes? And no, you, John, yes, for it is a study of insanity. You, no, Madam Mina, for crime touch you not but once. Still, your mind works true and argues not a particulari ad universale. There is this peculiarity in criminals, it is so constant in all countries and at all times, that even police, who know not much from philosophy, come to know it empirically, that it is. That is to be empiric. The criminal always work at one crime. That is the true criminal, who seems predestined to crime and who will of none other. This criminal has not full man brain. He is clever and cunning and resourceful, but he be not of a man's stature as to brain. He be of child brain in much. Now, this criminal of ours is predestinate to crime also. He too have child brain, and it is of the child to do what he have done. The little bird, the little fish, the little animal learned not by principle, but empirically. And when he learned to do, then there is to him the ground to start from to do more. Thus Pu sto, said Archimedes. Give me a fulcrum, and I shall move the world. To do once is the fulcrum, whereby child-brain become man-brain, and until he have the purpose to do more, he continue to do the same again every time, just as he have done before. Oh, my dear, I see that your eyes are open, and that to you the lightning flash show all the leagues. For Mrs. Harker began to clap her hands, and her eyes sparkled. He went on. Now you shall speak. Tell us, two dry men of science, what you see with those so bright eyes. He took her hand and held it whilst she spoke. His finger and thumb closed on her pulse, as I thought instinctively and unconsciously, as she spoke. The Count is a criminal, and of criminal type. Nordau and Lombroso would so classify him, and qua criminal he is of imperfectly formed mind. Thus, in a difficulty he has to seek resource in habit. His past is a clue, and the one page of it that we know, and that from his own lips tells that once before, when in what Mr. Morris would call a tight place, he went back to his own country, from the land he had tried to invade, and thence, without losing purpose, prepared himself for a new effort. He came again better equipped for his work, and won. So he came to London to invade a new land. He was beaten, and when all hope of success was lost and his existence in danger, he fled back over the sea to his home, just as formerly he had fled back over the Danube from Turkeyland. Good, good, oh, you so clever lady, said Van Helsing enthusiastically, as he stooped and kissed her hand. A moment later he said to me as calmly as though we had been having a sick-room consultation, 72 only. And in all this excitement I have hope. Turning to her again, he said with keen expectation, But go on, there is more to tell if you will. Be not afraid. John and I know. I do in any case, and shall tell you if you are right. Speak without fear. I will try to, but you will forgive me if I seem egotistical. Nay, I fear not. You must be egotist, for it is of you that we think. Then, as he is criminal, he is selfish, and as his intellect is small and his action is based on selfishness, he confines himself to one purpose. That purpose is remorseless. As he fled back over the Danube, leaving his forces to be cut to pieces, so now he is intent on being safe, careless of all. So his own selfishness frees my soul somewhat from the terrible power which he acquired over me on that dreadful night. I felt it. Oh, I felt it. Thank God for his great mercy. My soul is freer than it has been since that awful hour, and all that haunts me is a fear lest in some trance or dream he may have used my knowledge for his ends." The professor stood up. "He has so used your mind, and by it he has left us here in Varna, whilst the ship has carried him rushed through enveloping fog up to Galatz, where doubtless he had made preparations for escaping from us. But his child mind only saw so far, and it may be that, as ever is in God's providence, the very thing that the evil-doer most reckon on for his selfish good turns out to be his chiefest harm. The hunter is taken in his own snare, as the great psalmist says, for now that he think he is free from every trace of us all, and that he has escaped us with so many hours to him, then his selfish child brain will whisper him to sleep. He think too that as he cut himself off from knowing your mind, there can be no knowledge of him to you. There is, where he fail, that terrible baptism of blood which he give you makes you free to go to him in spirit, and as you have as yet done in your times of freedom, when the sun rise and set. At such times you go by my volition, and not by his, and this power to good of you and others, as you have won from your sufferings at his hands. This is now all the more precious, that he know it not, and to guard himself have even cut himself off from his knowledge of our where. We, however, are not selfish, and we believe that God is with us through all this blackness and these many dark hours. We shall follow him, and we shall not flinch, even if we peril ourselves, that we become like him. Friend John, this has been a great hour, and it have done much to advance us on our way. You must be scribe and write him all down, so that when the others return from their work you can give it to them. Then they shall know as we do. And so I have written it whilst we wait their return, and Mrs. Harker has written with her typewriter all since she brought the MS to us.